I've heard stories. Stories. How do you get here in the morning?
What stories have you heard?
Uh-oh.
How do I get here in the morning? I get a ride here.
Yeah, you get a ride here. Yeah.
Do you know who the ride is?
Who?
Is that what you heard?
No, I was just wondering. I know you get a ride here, but I didn't know from who.
It's actually a ride from my father.
Ah, I knew that.
You did?
Yeah.
How did you know? I didn't tell you.
Because when you were trying to, I guess, pick up on some girls last time at the satellite.
Yeah. I mentioned to them that I get a ride from my father.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of things.
How the hell are you going to pick up girls if you mention that?
Smooth move.
I think I mentioned it because one of the girls said, "How do you get here?"
You should have said something more dignified, like I molest children up the street until I arrive.
And then you asked one of the girls out, and she said no, and you said, I thought we were making a connection.
This girl reported every detail of our conversation to you? Wow.
Of course. They live at my house.
Oh my God. Was he really?
Oh yeah, he was trying.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Wait, so I asked her out, she said no?
Yeah.
And then what did I say?
You said, I thought we were making a connection.
I did say that, that's right.
And then you hung around after everyone left, and you could have left because you thought you were going with her somewhere to, like, lunch.
Wow, this is the exact story, word for word, of what happened last time. Wow.
Oh, he's getting the inside info, David.
I was kidding. It was, they're not living at my house. It was baby girl, but...
But this is word for...
funny.
She told you word for word exactly what happened.
Queen, sit to yourself.
Rejected.
Celibate.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, David,
Yeah.
before you do kosher sports,
Yes.
that's amazing, Anthony.
Oh, it's hysterical. And they were trying to get him to show his
That is correct.
BD.
That is
Wow.
Yeah.
correct.
I'm kind of bummed you don't like his nickname. I kind of like it.
Because apparently it's not true.
Big D David. That's
if
the
he
beauty
had
of it.
some Big D.
You're not following the nickname protocol.
Oh, like calling the fat guy tiny?
There you go.
Oh.
That's why Big D David works with this kid.
All right.
What?
That's good. Hey, Sam, I'm going to call you Whitey. See?
Hold on 1 second. Hey, talented Eric.
Oh, Eric's throwing stuff now. That's not good.
Fair enough.
Why aren't you calling him Hoagie Boy today?
I would have got
Oh.
the boy.
All right.
Oogie boy.
Coke Logic. Coke Logic.
Yes.
It's got an animation. This has nothing to do with anything, but I need to get a plug-in that I wanted to do about 20 minutes ago. He's uploading a new animation based on...
No way. Hoagie?
No.
Jesus.
Rooster and...
Oh, Rooster and Turk and Rooster.
Turk and Rooster.
There's going to be an animation.
Oh, Coke Logic's animations are really good.
Where are those? O&A Radio? Yeah, but
Wow, I got to see that.
They're right on the front page, and the Brewer story was great. I don't know if you saw that one.
I did not.
Oh, it's when he was in the hotel room with
We
the
haven't
pot.
promoted Coke Logic's animations lately,
Yeah,
but
they're
OARadio.com has a whole bunch of them, and a new one featuring Turk and Rooster is going to be up there
When's
later
it going
today.
up? He's a bum, this Coke Logic.
I don't know. Maybe you could call
Put it up,
or
lazy.
send another instant feedback. Put it up, lazy. No, don't show us the animation now.
David!
David?
Yes.
David! You'd all be dead now if it wasn't my David.
My David.
David,
Yes.
I'm obsessed with David's writing.
Wow, yeah.
I took a picture of this. It's up on ONARadio.com. You write like a serial killer. I was into the Son of Sam case back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And there's similarities in the writing style and the font.
Yeah.
The chicken scratch font.
Is that or Zodiac Killer?
All that, yeah.
It's got really a very serial killer-ish handwriting.
Yeah, and he made some notes for himself for your interview, right?
Hey, could we get a
What
handwriting analyst
Yes.
to look at that? Because
Brilliant.
they could probably
Effing
really
brilliant.
come across and
you
tell
know-
us a little more about my David.
I actually suggested that last week and nobody listened to me.
You did not. Stop it.
You're right.
My idea.
No, you're right. I was just trying to steal it. I wanted credit.
We all just want credit for the stuff we do for this show.
wanted credit.
We're so
All
pathetic.
right, I'm good for another year.
Go ahead, David. You want
I was going to say, did you know that the son of Sam was actually Jewish?
Yes.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Oh, we didn't know Berkowitz was Jewish?
Well, that's
Oh, we didn't know?
We know now.
So what? So are you proud of that?
I certainly am. Got to stick with us Jews.
Jesus. Well, he is one of the few.
We're going to turn this
Not many serial killers.
Not many Jewish serial killers.
Not that I can recall.
What about Speck?
We're going to...
Richard Speck, I
Richard
don't know.
Speck?
I don't know about Joel Rifkin.
Rifkin might have been Jewish.
Rifkin, that's a Jewish name for sure.
Rifkin. Wow, you have a long tradition of serial killing, I guess. I guess we were wrong.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just want one thing to happen to David. I want to turn him into an alcoholic sex addict.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Why
He
definitely?
just says definitely. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made you out of clay. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I haven't been laid.
No.
Hasn't. Poor bastard.
Look at him looking at sports.
What
We'll
that
get to you,
feels like.
David.
He has
Relax.
a very furrowed brow, David. He's not a bad-looking dude.
Yeah,
With
but
glasses.
it is. He looks like he's concentrating all the time or trying to take a dump.
Yes.
One or the other.
I'm concentrating because I'm preparing myself to do this report.
All right, listen. Can I get back to his handwriting, Anthony? So
Please.
He prepared for his interview with the boys, and what are these, thought starters or something? Why are you raising your hand?
What interview are we talking about?
I guess it was your interview to be an intern, right?
No, I didn't write down anything for.
What's this? Is this your handwriting, sir?
That's the first sports report from last week, isn't it?
No, it's not, my friend.
It's your ragings against the government.
I believe.
those are his
Stumpering,
tips to himself on how to prepare himself.
If I may be honest, I don't know what you're looking at. So what are you looking at?
Well, come over here, Kenny. Show. Don't let him have it back.
He's grabbing for it. No.
Is that your handwriting, David?
Uh-oh, now he's smiling.
All right, now bring it back.
He's smiling like he's opening up his I was going to say communion. His bar mitzvah.
I know what that is.
Communion.
I know what that
Jesus.
is.
Yeah, you know what
You do? What is it?
What is it?
It's not preparing for this interview.
What is it?
It's something from a year ago when I took a class about how to prepare for an interview.
Oh.
And I wrote down notes.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. It wasn't to prepare for this interview, but you wrote it.
No, I didn't.
As a thing to prepare for an interview.
No, not.
All right.
It was a class that I took.
You should be a lawyer.
It was a
Probably
class that I took that prepared people and taught people like how to go on interviews and how to prepare for a job interview and get a job.
And what was suggestion one? Burn notes when finished.
That wasn't a suggestion.
Do not leave them hanging around.
Look at this guy. Please.
No.
No.
You're right, Master Poe. So
I guess the main thing is that you went through the notebook that I brought here is the main thing.
Master Purim.
And took out some pages that were in my
That's a
notebook.
joke.
That would be illegal activity, I do believe. You let us know who did this, and they will be fired.
they'll
David.
be punished.
They will be fired, David. Well, you want me to read a few of these, Ant?
Please.
The first one is interview is opportunity to make a connection.
You like that connection thing. You use that with the girls a lot.
Yeah.
Well, once.
I was just writing down notes about what the person was telling to me in the class.
Yeah.
All right. What about bragging nicely? You just wrote bragging nicely. What's that?
I don't know. This was a long time ago. I just kept it in my notebook all this time.
Would it be maybe talking yourself up, but in a way that doesn't seem like you're being a braggart?
I guess you could say that, yes.
I can say that. I just did.
Could you give us an example of nice bragging?
About yourself.
About yourself. Give us
Do
one
some
thing
bragging
about
nicely.
yourself or a couple of things.
Nicely, though.
Nicely.
Let's see if you learned from this class.
This is such a long time ago.
Well, you still got to have it in your head. What are some of your good points that you could brag about nicely?
My good points is that I'm looking to get into the broadcasting business. I'm studying broadcasting. I hope to make a career in this field.
These are things you want to do. These are things you want to do. We're looking for things, attributes that you have right now that you can tell an employer, like, hey, this is what I have.
Right.
And this is how I can help your company.
Right.
Use the radio show, as a matter of fact. Not that you're an intern. Let's say you're interviewing for a job. What would you tell the company about yourself that would make them go, yeah, this is a guy we need on board?
Definitely. I would tell them that I'm very, I pay attention to detail very well, and I'm thorough, I'm meticulous, get the job done.
A go-getter.
Correct. That's what a lot of people have told me in the past, that I pay a lot of close attention to detail, and I really do what I'm told.
All right.
That's
Attention
great.
to detail and do what I'm
Dominatrix just
told.
told him that. He licked the floor when instructed.
Yeah, right?
We got to get a dominatrix for this kid. Listen, keep it relevant, quality, not quantity. Say you like what you're doing. Okay, this is what you can depend on me to do. The best way to emotionally prepare for an interview is practice.
Do you practice for an interview?
Of course you do.
Like what, in front of a mirror or something?
Yeah, sure.
But then you're in a mirror, so you look and go, well, I'm the boss already.
Yeah, I'm looking at myself, right.
All right, well, it goes on.
Wait, I want to know if he prepared for the. Did he practice for the interview for the
Yeah, did
show?
you?
Yeah.
What-
What did you practice saying?
Did I practice for the Opie and Anthony interview you're talking about, or just in general?
No. Of course. The Opie and Anthony interview.
I didn't really practice per se. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I read up for the interview.
Oh, you did?
Read up meaning reading about the Opie and Anthony show, got familiar with it in case I was asked some questions about it.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
because
good.
this is what I also heard from the girls.
that he's trying to pick up behind your
that
back.
that he never listened to the show. That you didn't you didn't know what the show was about or anything until your first day.
Who said this?
The same girl.
The girl you made a connection with.
Yes.
That is not entirely. I think she misinterpreted herself a
Are
little
you
bit.
objecting?
I'm objecting to this girl. Yes, she asked me if I had ever listened to the Ron and Fez show, and I said no. I'm not
What did she
familiar with
ask
it.
you?
She asked me if I had ever listened to the Ron and Fez show before, and I said no. I'm not familiar with the Ron and Fez show. I don't know anything about it.
Well,
Well,
what
until you put the Z and the S separate.
Yeah.
The Ron and Fez show. Most people just drag that
And in
in.
terms of the Opie and Anthony show, I told her that I
keep
listened to the
going.
first half of the show.
Yeah. Now,
The
Dave.
first half of the show that day.
No, the first in general, the first half of the show, like in general, like on the first half of the show on K-Rock, I listen often.
Because you don't have Sirius XM.
I don't have Sirius XM, so I can't listen to the
All right,
second
so
half.
what did you learn about the Opie and Anthony show as you prepared for the interview with Steve?
Well, it was not so much about the Opie and Anthony show. It's about the whole history of Opie and of you guys and your history on radio and stuff.
All right, what did you learn?
Well, just about your history and how you started out in Boston, and about all the
Wrong.
different stunts that you've pulled over the years.
Like what?
Well, not that you started out in Boston, that you did have a radio show in Boston before you came into New York City and to XM.
And what stunts did we do?
I learned that you pulled a stunt on an April Fool's stunt one day when you were in Boston. It got a lot of people upset.
What was the stunt?
The stunt was that you told the citizens of Boston on April of Boston.
Citizen.
You told the citizens of Boston on April Fool's Day that the mayor of Boston was dead, which was not correct and was an April Fool's joke, and many people were offended.
What do you think
Many.
of that?
I thought it's pretty hilarious. That's a funny joke. I'm all for that. It's funny.
One of the girls is saying you're lying.
Ooh.
That you said that you weren't familiar with the Opie and Anthony show as far as what we're doing and listening to the program.
It's all right if he isn't. Just be honest. If you didn't really know about us, that's fine. We're not going to kick you out.
Yeah, no, you're not going to kick me out.
You're
But
gold.
I'm just telling you what happened. She asked me about the Ron and Fez show, and I said no, I'm not.
And a Fez show.
Because I asked her what's her role with Opie and Anthony, and she said, I don't work for Opie and Anthony, I work for the Ron and Fez show. You familiar with it? I said, no, I'm not familiar with the Ron and Fez show.
They
No.
were tooling with him so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I asked her what she does, and she said, you don't know who I am? I said, no.
You don't know who I am.
I said, no, I don't know who you are. What do you do for Opie and Anthony?
I think
I'm
that
Oliver Twist.
Yes.
I think that would be part of bragging nicely. You don't
She
know who
said-
I am.
She said, I don't do anything for Opie and Anthony. I work for Ron and Fez show.
First of all, you're talking about Lily,
Yes, that's correct.
but she didn't ask you.
Yes,
Baby
she
girl
did.
asked you.
Well, obviously, he was talking to Lily, too.
I don't know who Baby Girl is, but I remember Lily.
That was the
Get any vibes
The other
off
girl
it?
there.
the other girl that you asked to go out and made a connection
That's Baby
with.
Girl?
Yeah.
Okay, I think her.
Do you like her?
There was also Baby Girl, and there was also her Baby Girl sister was also present.
Right.
The one with the notebook shoes.
Okay.
She was wearing sneakers that looked like a notebook.
Wow.
And she was bragging. She was bragging about her shoes.
Not in a good way.
What was she bragging about?
That her shoes looked like a notebook, and she thought that was cool.
Cool. Hard consonants at the end of every word. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, we're picking up on a lot of things with David.
But anyways, you're
So
saying
you want baby girl?
I want her?
Yeah.
because you said you made a connection. You felt like, what kind of connection did you feel you made when you said that?
Come on.
It's hard to say. I mean, this was the first time that I've met all three of these girls.
Yeah.
I don't know the first thing about them.
But what compelled you to say, I thought we made a connection? Like, during such a short period of
I don't know.
talking.
It wasn't a serious conversation. It was kind of like, haha, funny, joking around. You know, Kenny was saying
Oh,
one-liners.
now he's blaming you, Kenny.
I'm not blaming him. No, I'm just saying that he was telling me one-liners.
He's passing the shekel.
I'm definitely not blaming him at all. I'm just saying he was passing along one-liners for me to say to them. We're kind of like joking around, having a good time.
What do you like about Baby Girl? You're attracted to her.
I'm trying to remember which one is Baby Girl, which one is Lily, which one is this. The shorter one. Which one is Baby Girl?
The shorter one.
See if the camera's up. Oh.
You have a picture of her on your website?
No, I just used the one in my head.
All right.
She's not online. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we got to take a break. So.
Yeah, and then we got to get to.
If I may say, I haven't even read the Kosher Sports Report yet.
Well, you haven't.
No, I haven't even read it yet.
Thank God you told us.
Yeah, we forgot.
Thank God.
So we're going to take a break. You stay there with your left hand firmly planted deeply in your pocket.
Okay.
Doing God knows what, because even the Pal Talk people have realized you're kind of toying with yourself down there.
Yeah.
You playing pocket pool?
Certainly not.
No.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a little pocket pool.
No, there wouldn't be. If I was doing it, there wouldn't be.
Okay. All right, we got David after the break.
Who the hell did Baby Girl
David!
you work for?
David!
No, Lily said that she worked for Ron and Fez.
Oh.
And he's confusing all of them.
Yeah, he's...
Does she not even work for Ron and Fez? Is that not true?
Who?
I don't know. Lily told me that she worked
she
for
does
Ron
not
and Fez.
She does not work for Ron and Fez.
That's what she told me.
Well, I don't know why she told you that. She doesn't work.
I asked her what does she do for Opie and Anthony. She said, I don't work for Opie and Anthony. I work for the Ron and Fez show.
Ron and Fez show.
Oh, well, I grew up in the city. I really don't care for it. I come from a Jewish family, which of course you already know. I like to read, and I have these polyps on the backs of my hands. I don't know what they are. Oh, and I hope one day to be an investment banker.
All right, but Anthony is onto something.
How do you want to handle this?
Well, I think that David should read it because I think it's obvious. I like the fact that you were an Opie and Anthony fan when you applied here. I think that's
yeah,
a lot of guys
it is
aren't.
cool.
It's cool that you are.
What
But,
is it that you want me to read?
All right. Well, first,
Something? Someone wrote something about me?
no, this is you. This is an exchange, an email exchange between our own Travis and you. Travis said, here's what Travis wrote to you. Tuesday is good. We're located at, and then he puts the address in. Bring extra copies of your resume. You will be meeting with Steve and Danny. If you need to reschedule or have any other questions, let me know, Travis. Now, you wrote back to Travis.
I know already.
And
I know the whole story
If you
already.
could please read
I know.
in your own words what you wrote back to Travis, please, David. It's right there.
Do I
Just-
really have to read?
just read it.
I know what this is already.
You have to read.
Of course you do,
The
but the
listener
audience
knows.
doesn't.
Yeah.
So please read your response to Travis's email.
There you go.
I know what it is already.
Yes,
I know we know you know.
Read it, so the audience now knows.
Just
know what-
give it
I
a
know what-
read.
It is difficult to work
Give
with.
it a read. Don't plow through it.
Yeah.
Read it.
Right.
I don't want to read. Do I have to read
Yes.
this?
Yes, you do. It's part of your internship.
Yes.
Reading
Okay.
on the air.
I'll read it slowly so no one knows. Okay, they know what Travis said
Yes,
to me.
read it.
Okay. Travis, Tuesday at 11:30 works for me. I will be there at that time for the interview. I was just wondering, are Steve and Danny the same people as Opie and Anthony? If they are different, what are their last names and job positions? Thanks, David Freed.
Now, can I ask you, did
I knew.
Steve and Danny,
Yes.
you thought they could be Opie and Anthony?
I didn't know who Steve and Danny were.
But this also assumes you didn't know who Opie and Anthony were. If you knew the Opie and Anthony, you would know that our names. My name is Anthony. It was given
Right.
to me when I was born.
And his name is Greg.
And his name is Greg, but it's Opie has been his name since he was a kid, his nickname.
But his real name is Greg, right?
Yeah, but it's been his nickname. They called him Opie longer than they've called him Greg.
Right, but your
But
point
thinking
is,
Steve and Danny, if you're familiar the least bit with the show, you would know Steve and
I know
Danny
what you're getting
are not
at.
Opie and Anthony.
I know what you're
I'm saying.
getting at. I know you're digging up every possible piece of dirt you could find.
Digging
about
up dirt.
We haven't even begun, my
No,
No,
no.
you haven't. You're getting every email that I've written.
Well, this is who did you think he was, Opie or Anthony?
Yeah,
The
this
one
guy
walking
right here.
in.
Yeah. Who would that be?
That's Steve.
Yeah. But
I
that-
didn't know who Steve was before I went on the interview.
Well, why would you if you listen to the show?
Yeah, we
I
only
mean that seriously.
goof on him every day.
Steve ran in a little cliffhanger. Started to do cliffhangers on the show. Intern David, our Jewish intern,
Yeah.
he writes really weird.
Yeah, his handwriting is very serial killerish.
We sent it to a handwriting analysis.
Yeah.
Analyst, I should say. And what did Steve say? What was the
Said
exact
that
quote?
the handwriting analyst sent him back an email that said she does not want to do this because she's not comfortable discussing her findings in public.
In a public forum.
In a public forum.
Because she's a dumb C. She actually said that.
But what does that mean?
It means that maybe she found something in her analysis of the handwriting that shows that he's a kook or something.
Is that right, Steve?
My David.
Out of decency, I'll have to pass with the...
You're all dead because of my David.
Out of decency, she's got to pass?
yeah,
decency.
so I really don't
Decency
know.
have to do with this show.
It's funny if she says he's retarded.
Oh, well, there you go.
All right, well,
Sure, you could be.
we're going to find somebody else? All right, Steve's going to try to find someone else. Now we're on to something.
Someone with no ethics.
That's a developing story on the Opie and Anthony show. What's going on with you and your handwriting? Because we have a handwriting professional that
what I hear.
refuses to do anything with your handwriting
A
because it's not.
graphologist?
Okay, whatever, dude. Yeah, graphologist.
Why does she refuse?
Dumb words. Who cares? Because what did she say? Aunt? Something about
She said
she doesn't
she
feel
doesn't feel
comfortable
comfortable.
discussing your
yeah.
handwriting in a public forum, which means there's something drastically wrong.
She doesn't comfortable with my handwriting. It's
Yeah,
with someone
she
else's
sees something in the
handwriting?
handwriting that disturbs her, and she doesn't want to discuss it in
She
a
doesn't want
public
to
Maybe we
forum.
should
discuss
find
it.
a different graphologist.
Well, we're
When
trying.
you graphologist.
Another one found out that it's for our show and doesn't want anything to do with our show.
What, who's that?
Some lady, I don't know. Maybe Steve could come in. But
Steve?
Hello.
But what's going on with you, David? Anything you want to share with us today?
Family's good.
They're getting better.
What, getting better.
Getting better. You're 26 years old. It's not going to. It is what it is at this point.
That's true.
Oh, they're dealing with the show though. Better.
Yeah, they're dealing with it.
Uh-oh. What's that about?
They're getting better.
They listen every day.
No, they don't listen. They read.
Dave, you're.
They read.
Yeah,
What do they read?
they read the O&A website.
Oh, they read the the show rundown.
Yeah, they read that.
Oh boy! So Steve from Bay Shore is getting a Jewish guy in trouble. I'm sure he's very happy with that. You know, Steve's a Nazi, right? A lot of Nazis around here.
Dave,
Not to Steve.
Not that Steve. Not
No.
Steve. No,
No,
I'm not a Nazi.
He's a nutsy.
I know it's not that, Steve, I know.
David, what's going on with you? You seem a little down
for
and
me,
out.
it's not
No,
C.
not at all. I'm not down and out at all. No, I just found that disgusting about the breast milk. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's something with you that we don't know yet.
There's nothing
and
with
we're
me.
we're gonna find out, my friend.
I don't have a problem with the graphologist. If you want to bring
We're
her on, bring her
gonna
on.
find out, my friend.
Is this
Steve?
from Fiddler on the Roof?
Yeah. Where are we with the graphologist?
I think we have one. We found one who's published a book and is used by the FBI. So
Oh shit!
it would be, and it would be a phoner because she's in Pennsylvania.
What about number two? What happened with number two?
She found out that it was for this show, and she said she just doesn't feel comfortable being associated with the show.
Who is it? Who is she?
Her name is Michelle, and I believe she's part of the New York City Institute of Graphology, I believe. I think that's how we found her.
So she'll probably profile criminals,
Right.
but she won't come on a radio. Do we know her full name?
I'll find it for you.
Please
It's in my
do.
book. Yeah.
Please do.
Has she ever testified in the defense of a murderer who has later been convicted?
That I'm not sure about.
Well, let's find out about that.
Because if she has, she's a scummy bitch.
We should find out a lot. I mean, people turn on a show like that really makes me fucking angry.
Yeah.
So just find out about her.
David, why are you a 26-year-old intern?
Why?
With a big cock.
Because I've switched my career to broadcasting.
Let's just look at it. I want to suck your cock.
I switched my career to broadcasting, and I didn't study it before, and I'm trying to get into the business any way I can. So
The business.
So therefore,
Big cock.
It's a nice bulgy
so therefore,
Big cock.
I'm starting out when I can. So I'm 26.
What's in your pocket there?
What is that right there?
What is that? What is that? Is that your cock?
That's your cock?
Yes,
Is that your cock?
yes, it is.
Which one's your cock?
You
That
have something to say about
or
it?
that?
Yeah.
Do you have something to say about
Oh,
it?
hey.
Yeah, I want to know, because what's that?
You don't know what it is?
No, there's a
Okay.
bulge in your pocket.
That's
What is that?
Give it a squeeze.
I know what I'm trying to
What's
say, but that's
that?
pretty embarrassing if you don't know what it is.
Is that? No, because that can't be your cock.
Why can't it be?
Give it a
But
squeeze.
that is.
Why can't it be?
Because it's square and it's sticking out and it's
It's
too
not
far to the right.
square.
It can't be your cock.
Okay, whatever you say. How could it?
Give it a squeeze.
Why the attitude, David?
He does have a bad attitude.
He really does.
He has the worst attitude as an intern that we've ever had.
Yeah, why the attitude?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why, David?
I don't
Why the
need to.
attitude?
You all right?
What's
I'm
wrong?
all right. I'm all right.
You
I'm
feel
good.
sick?
You all
okay?
right?
I'm not
You
sick
all
at
right?
all. No.
You have fever?
No fever.
Maybe a
no.
little brandy. Sweat it out.
Are you getting
Like to end that like that too?
Yeah. We got a handwriting analysis standing by.
Good. We need to get.
David,
Where's young David?
we've been meaning to do this for a while now.
Where's David?
Intern David came in, and he's
David?
He's a bit on the strange side, a bit
Well,
weird,
You're like
borderline weirdo.
you're very much like many of the young Jewish kids that I grew up with around Long Island. Yeah.
He's the reason Jews get beat up, because people think all Jews are like that, like little goofy, whiny type.
But they are.
No,
Right.
no, I'm like a tough Jew.
You're
know,
not a
from-
tough
You are
Jew.
such a tough
What are
Jew.
you talking about?
No, I'm a tough.
Well,
look
compared to him,
Well, no.
I would have to agree.
No,
But
I listen.
But
I
that's
mean, I'm
not
not saying
saying much.
I'm not saying I went out on the street and I got in fights, but
Well,
I
you're not a
did
tough
stuff.
Jew.
No, you could be tough without getting in fights. There's stuff I've done
All
in my
right.
life.
When you're a Jew, you're a Jew all the way.
Yeah, what
You
have you
know.
done that's tough?
I don't know. I used
Did
to
drugs?
rob crack dealers and stuff.
You
was
never
desperate.
robbed a crack dealer.
They
I
handed
almost
it
Like,
to you.
did they give it to you?
almost.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
They'd pull up. I'd pull up on them. I'd snatch it out of their hands.
Did you hold
right
them up
away.
with your mouth on their cock? Freeze. Give me the crack.
I'll suck the lifeblood out of
You
you.
know?
Into my belly.
I don't know. It's just,
Don't make me swallow this cum.
if I look like him and act and had as funny as I am on stage, if I look like him, I'd have a career, because they go, oh, he's a Jew, and the Jews look out for each other, but they don't know I'm a Jew in this business. They think I'm like,
Why?
know,
You say it every 30
I
seconds.
never say it on stage. I say it like one time in my act, maybe years ago. I
Huge
did.
Star of David tattooed on you.
Exactly, never again.
Yeah, but you see, I walk around like
That's
this.
what the
on
audience
stage.
says.
Around Hollywood, you fucking shut up.
And when they're leaving a Voss show, never again.
David, don't plant that fucking seed, you jackass.
I'm teasing because Voss is he's hysterical on stage. I've heard more compliments from other comics about you on stage and how you can work a crowd and stuff. Believe me.
Well, thank you.
Voss is very funny.
Yeah, we
He's
want
just
people to
a,
know that.
a complete dolt on this show for some reason.
And the reason bring something.
Of course you do.
And the reason we want people to know that, because we don't want Voss coming to us someday like, I'm down on my luck, you got a few bucks.
Oh, that's going to be next week.
Bonnie left me and took everything.
Can you just spare me some money?
See, Bonnie doesn't know how much money. Like, I don't have a lot, but I was happy when they raised the FDIC. I said this to her. I go, are they raising the FDIC to 250,000? She goes, why the fuck would you care? I go, I don't know, I'm just wondering.
look
at Rich. I'm
For insurance?
It's already raised to 250,000.
Yeah.
So it insures you up to there?
Yeah, because the government's going to, the government backs it. And then they're talking about some kind of moratorium on it. Like, you could put as much as you fucking want in there, and you can't lose it for like 6 months.
Yeah, but they say that, but then when it happens, they go, well, what the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah,
you lost
hey,
it.
we
Sorry.
can't. Yeah, we can't afford to pay it. So
sorry.
go
What
fuck
are you gonna
yourself.
do? Yeah, here, take it.
What
David,
happened?
do you resent this type of talk about you?
No.
From Richard?
No, not at all.
He's implying that he's tough and you're not.
No, he's the kind of Jew that
Can't
he's
fight.
Oh no, I'm not saying he can't fight. He's what he is he's going to be very successful, but you can tell he's a Jew when he walks down the street. He's got that Jewy Jew look to him.
Thank you.
But Rich is a Jew, so he can say
So,
that.
David, hold on,
It's like the N-word.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Of course you're saying it like David, what do you think?
The new candy.
Anthony,
hold on. No offense, but everyone thinks exactly what he said when they see this kid.
Yeah, but
why can he say it and I can't?
Because it's the same reason everyone thinks another word when certain people walk down the street, but you can't say it.
I understand, but just saying Jew is not good enough. You really
No, he's
need
Jewy Jew. But there's nothing wrong. Listen,
You have certain very stereotypical Jewish features
From your neck
and
to the top of your
mannerisms
head.
and
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah.
So, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's
No,
just
there isn't, no.
that's the way it is. Like as far as being Italian goes, I know I whip my hands around and talk, and when I'm with my family, we go, hey,
And he's
we
greasy.
drop the N-bomb all the time, and I'm greasy, and we don't want him living in our neighborhood. And
and saying you got a lot of JJ characters.
yeah.
is that like the N-word? I
gotta call it.
You could call him a J.E.J.
Right.
But he's
I want to
like,
go with JJ.
like,
Hey,
you
what's
know
up,
what it is?
JJ?
J.J.
when I see him, he reminds me of my cousins that were always so smart and always did well. All my cousins are like lawyers or just like rocket scientists. They're really smart.
Yeah.
And I was like the black sheep, or
Yeah.
inferior
I
race
gotcha.
sheep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in twins.
The Pete Rose haircut of the family.
Yeah. Hey, we got to get into this because she's on the line. I
Oh.
mean, we could
Yes.
kill Voss some more after Michelle hangs up.
It's always fun for that.
So just to set this up, intern David, we got some of his handwriting. I think he did application for the internship and wrote down some stuff. I don't remember.
He'd like write his even when he's writing down his
Kosher
bit.
sports and
yeah.
stuff.
It's this scrawl, this chicken scratch kind of weird handwriting.
Speaking of the kosher sports,
Very Zodiac killer.
Kenny was amazed at something. Did you understand what you were doing today with your kosher sports?
Yes, I did.
What was it?
What are you referring to? You're referring to the fact that it was a kosher sport and there are no Jewish references?
Yes.
Well, that was one thing.
That was one thing.
But there
that
was something
obvious.
else.
There was something else that was a theme of the whole thing that Kenny's like, I can't believe it, but I don't think he picked up on it.
Every story had a certain.
A sexual thing, yeah, sexual intuition. That it was all like liking men and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I picked up on that.
Very good. Very good,
I
David.
picked up on that. I did.
Oh, you got to get Natterman and do dueling Jews right next to each other. They're the same people.
But Natterman will have. I can't do his voice. I wish I could.
Who's Natterman?
He's got the greatest voice.
Natterman. Who's Natterman? I'm Natterman.
Well, do we tell him, David, what this...
Oh, yeah. So, anyway, he wrote a thing
It's
about
my
being
autobiography that I wrote.
It's nice.
about
All right.
wanting to be an intern, and the writing creeped us out to a point we got a handwriting analysis. And she's going to tell us a few things. One handwriting analysis said, I don't want anything to do with this, after she read this and saw his handwriting.
Do you write
Really?
cursive or only print, David?
Only print.
Why can't you write cursive?
Only thing in cursive is when I sign my name.
Why not cursive?
Why do you stop saying cursive?
Script. It's script.
Script, cursive, whatever.
My Candy Club Soda Candy.
You're writing
cannot write
cursive? Something about
either.
cursive. I think there was cursive.
I can't write in script.
Did you practice your cursive today?
Nope.
I don't like writing.
I write
in
very sloppily.
Script.
But I can.
I'm
Because I can't write fast in script.
Right,
like
right.
I have to do like that capital I is so weird.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I don't like
See,
that
it flows
at all.
together. It all. I write much faster in cursive.
Nope.
Do you?
Hey, can you say tabernacles?
Tabernacles.
When did you write this? In second grade?
Tabernacles.
Now we have this woman waiting for us. We have
Yes,
a.
well,
Yeah, she's on the line.
We're having
her.
your handwriting analyzed.
Well, let's get her on.
Oh, all right, David.
Hey, David. Wow, he's
Very-
being pushy now.
Very assertive.
Chill, you.
Hi,
JJ.
Michelle.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, I have your handwriting, David. How
That's
Well,
me, I'm
we
David.
want to know a little bit about you quickly first, Michelle. What kind of
Well, let's start by what's your last name because none of us could say
it
it.
says
My
Dresbold.
last name is Dressbold, Dresbold, like
Dress-
the girls dress and
horrible
raise
last
Dressbold.
Dressbold.
Why don't you dress bold? So it's Michelle Dressbold. And what are your credentials?
Well, I'm a handwriting expert. I also go to court. I have training with U.S. Secret Service.
Ooh, kick some ass then too,
I
right?
do all kinds of criminal type cases where if there's a handwritten note at a crime scene. It's my job to go there and try to help law enforcement figure out who it is.
So, like, what was your best case or whatever? Like a case where you brag about?
One of my cases that I guess I brag about was a young college student who put a building on fire because he had a crush on a girl on the first floor.
Yeah.
Wrote a note to her parents, and what he was really trying to do was scare the girl in the building to come back to him. So, unfortunately, he did kill someone in the fire. Wow. And I linked the letter he wrote to his parents saying he put the fire on, and it was anonymous to him, and he's now in prison for life.
How did you link it? Was it personality stuff or other handwriting samples?
This was really other handwriting samples. He had written handwriting from different handwriting samples to friends. They gave the handwriting samples to the police. And there was this note basically to his parents that was anonymous but said, too bad that fire had to kill that kid. It was meant for your daughter.
Oh,
but it was anonymous. And anyhow, I linked that, the handwriting, plus other things from the letters he had written to friends to the letter from the parents, and that was the connection to this fire, and that was used in his trial.
So do you ever work with profilers and stuff like
I
the
do.
FBI?
In fact, I am a very good profiler. I'll work as a profiler, and I'll work with, let's say, companies that are trying to hire people. Who should they hire? Or let's say someone's dating somebody. Should they date this person? Is this person really crazy? Are they wacky? Wow. So I work with all kinds of people.
What can you tell? Obviously, there's certain things that crazier people do, like do they drop their Y's a certain way? What are you looking for when you're analyzing someone's personality?
Well, like I talk about this in my book, which is Sex, Lies, and Handwriting.
Nice plug. Nice plug. That sex thing sells.
But in the book, I talk about there are certain features that will show up over and over and over again in certain types of personalities. For example, let's just say somebody takes their eye dots or their periods and they take them and they make them real big and thick and grind them into the page. It means that they're really angry and have a lot of inner resentment. Or if you see somebody's handwriting and on the first part of their letters, there's like a little check mark. You can only make angles when you're angry. So somebody who has a lot of little check marks that don't belong all throughout their handwriting, they have a lot of anger and they can like go off if you like push them just a little bit too much.
I'm not sure what you mean by check marks.
Nor do I.
Like a little angle.
Let's just say you make let's just say a letter like, let's find a good one, like an N.
Okay.
When you start the N, instead of just making your hand go down, the very start is a teeny little check mark. Yeah. It's not big. It's just a teeny check mark.
It's like almost like your hand twitched when you were putting the pencil to paper.
Like when you're relaxed, hand makes curves.
Oh.
When you're like if you get real angry, you can only make angles. So somebody who's very angry will have these teeny little angular marks all over the place. That's just one example. There's all different types of examples, and like obviously, like different types of people have different personalities. And for let's say somebody's handwriting goes way to the right, that means they're just so emotional that they can if they will not think correctly, and they'll just go with their emotions. Or if their handwriting's way to the left, it means that they'll talk to you, but you won't know anything that they're saying. You know, they'll keep everything in their head. So every little thing in handwriting shows what's going on in your brain.
I've been very curious as to very tiny writing. People that write very small. What is that?
Can I guess before you give an answer?
Go guess.
I'm gonna guess. It has something to do with compartmentalizing. It's an OCD thing. It has something to do with like the same type of people who compartmentalize everything in their life.
I say
sort of.
I say low self-esteem.
I mean, someone who writes really small, and I tell people this in my lectures, take your name and write it smaller, and so small you can barely see it. There are people who are super focused. If it gets too small, they're retreating from they're like retreating from society.
Ah, that's interesting. Because
Sure
we
is.
know a couple of people that write very small, and retreating from society would be something because society probably,
Didn't approve of their
any extreme, way too big
where they
or
put
way
their
too small.
Oh, and way too big would be
An
what?
egotist, somebody
An
who
ego.
has to get all the attention in the world. Like, hi, look at me. They'll write you.
Fuck, we should all wrote something before she did this.
Well,
and that would have been hilarious.
But
to see who had the biggest print.
we could do this by just taking something we've written already.
Right, or you could write something right
Except
now.
Voss, he hasn't written anything in years. Sorry, Rich.
That's good. I like that one.
So wait, you read David's thing.
David?
I did read David's handwriting.
Now, obviously, it's all in. He doesn't write in cursive.
A lot of people don't write in cursive, especially men. In fact, a pretty high percentage of men never write cursive.
Is it weird? Like, this is weird. Somebody told me that I make like the letter I make huge. Like when I'm writing I, and somebody says because my penis is large.
I think that's the reason.
All right, goes right along with you, Jimmy. Listen to David's laugh. Oh, he laughs with gusto.
That was hilarious, though.
Michelle, what does it mean when you pepper your writing with the N-word? You just kind of pepper it in there.
That means you have some not so nice tendencies.
All right, let's get into what
I've been told.
David wrote my autobiography. You got a copy of it a while ago.
Right, that's true.
The first paragraph, my name is David. I was born in 1982. I first lived in a town called Aberdeen, which is in New Jersey. I lived there for almost 10 years.
Now, obviously, that's...
We're not going to read this whole thing, but I'm just like, whatever.
Well, that's obviously worded like a well-written adult.
Yeah.
Well,
This is my book
When I
report.
look at handwriting, I don't look at what somebody writes,
Oh.
what the words are. I look at the handwriting, and in fact, often I'll just take a handwritten page and turn it upside down, and I will give you an analysis because it's not from what the person says, but from the actual way they write.
All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. What's
David.
What's David all about?
What do you got on him?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I found about David from his handwriting. David is sort of like innocent. He has like and when he wrote this, it's sort of like a childlike or very youthful type of handwriting, almost like he said he's born in 1982, so it's actually a younger handwriting than that. It's a very like a late bloomer's type of handwriting. He also he takes his periods and he does make them pretty big.
Yeah.
That means he's the way he does it, David can be obsessive. So when he thinks about something, he thinks about it over and over and over and over again in his head. And,
That's actually true.
Yes.
and let's say, David, if you were mad at somebody in third grade and you saw them on the street, you still would not like them. It's like, oh, I didn't like him in third grade and I still don't like him.
That's pretty normal, though.
If you like someone, you're real nice to them, and if you don't like them, you'll stay that way. I did notice something in your handwriting, David, that I thought was interesting. You sometimes reverse letters, like your D's turn into B's. And what that means is probably growing up, you had a little bit of a learning disability, which might have made school a little hard for you. And a lot of people are really bright. They will reverse letters like you do.
I did that all the time when I was in first and second grade.
Okay, well, it meant that you had a little bit, maybe even a visual learning disability. And so probably high school was maybe difficult for you. And it could be that you're very, very bright, but reading and memorizing what you read is hard for you.
And that would make him not bright.
This woman, she got it not nailed down to the right. She got it.
I would do that a lot. My lowercase B's and D's, I would screw it up if I was writing something real quickly. I would screw it up and be like, oh, that's, of course that's a D. It goes the other way.
Okay, that really means a lot of people have that, and you can be very, very bright and do that.
Yeah, I am. I'm very bright.
It's a learning disability, and a lot of people who do that have to take other paths in life rather than what we quote the normal path.
Oh.
The normal path.
Opie, stop laughing, you bick.
Or something like that. But
What are you saying? I'm not normal.
No,
Shut up.
It's better. In a way, you can be quite bright. And in fact, a lot of really, including Einstein, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of people,
Schwarzenegger and Einstein. I've never heard them put in the same category.
They both reverse their letters.
I got Blair's cousin Jerry from The Facts of Life.
But that can mean you're bright. Memorizing written words are hard. So you wind up usually doing something more creative and in your own vein, and that's where you excel in life. David can excel.
Can people
Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared.
Oh, no, they're not. Fucking David. Crack up, young David.
Can people fake hand, like, they might know it'll be analyzed and fake it so it can't be analyzed?
Wow, Rich is paranoid.
Not really. I mean, you can fake it, meaning somebody can write in all capital letters trying to block print so you can't read them. But even if, let me tell you, if you just said, Michelle, I'm going to write with, let's say you're right-handed, I'm going to write with my left hand to disguise it. Every trait that came out with your right hand will come out in your left hand. And in fact, they sometimes do an experiment with people and they make them write with their foot, and I can still analyze the personality.
Really?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
I got 20 jokes right there.
I know what else you can tell.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's such a good joke. And it's topical.
What else do you want to know about David? Anything?
Whatever you got on him.
Yeah, is there the thing with the period being very... Now, you said earlier that was kind of an anger thing.
It is a little bit of an anger. It can be obsession. In his case, it's more like obsession because it's big, but it's not huge.
Mm-hmm.
But it does mean that he can be inwardly angry and have hard time expressing it outwardly.
And what does it mean? Like, I see some of these letters on the page that he went over the letter twice, and they're darker than the other ones. Like, there's one where he spells school, and the L in school is like he went over it a couple of times. It's darker than the rest of the word. Bay, the Y, the H in 3. Like, there's quite a few of those.
Okay, when you go over letters over and over again, it's an obsessive quality because you're not satisfied with it just the way it is. You have to go over and over. So it's someone who can get quite obsessive, and when he's into something, it's hard for him to move on.
Yeah.
So it's a sign of obsession. So that's just something David has to work on. A little bit of thoughts get in his head, and they're hard to get them out of it.
What do you consider when someone writes the word Aberdeen and they begin with a capital A, as they should, and the capital A is smaller than the 3 E's in the sentence, which take up the entire line?
Well, that is true. Technically, that isn't really the way it should be.
Of course not.
That is also sort of like, David, did you have a little bit of a visual problem growing up?
Sure.
Yeah, so
Yes,
that's really
sure.
with David's handwriting. It's just a little bit, he has a little harder time visually.
Did you, David?
Yes, I did.
What was your problem?
It's a lot of disabilities, like learning disabilities and stuff.
My glasses.
Yeah, as you can see.
David, that's where his handwriting, sometimes when you see things like this, like if I had seen this, and I obviously don't know David, but I would say, David, you have a little bit of a learning disability.
Yeah, that's correct.
You're really smart, and your visual sense is a little hard. It's a little harder for you, so you need a little bit of different learning skills. And that's why his letters, actually, most people's words, the first letter will be big, and then it will get smaller.
That's weird
go the other way, and that's probably because he's had a visual perception problem.
Are handwriting analysts, amongst other profilers, like looked down at, kind of like chiropractors are to doctors? I mean, do you get the respect that, like the forensic people get, and the ones that are really solving the crimes?
Well, I think maybe some people are looked down on. Example, I don't think I am, and I think. I actually think that it's a pretty well-respected field, though you have people who might be a little bit, don't know much and try to pretend they know everything.
I think it's hokum.
Yeah.
There can be a little bit of that with people, but I'll tell you what, the more you know about it, it's just a fascinating field. And I find that, I work a lot with different lines, and they love it. And I have... I'll give you an example. When I first walked I'm from Pittsburgh, and when I first walked into the Detective Bureau, they rolled their eyes like, oh, who's this wacky girl? But after they saw what I could do, after a while, I had a lecture for the detectives, and they were sitting out the hall. That's how the reputation of how accurate a handwriting profile can be. And after people start to find out how accurate it is,
Yeah.
it's amazing. You know, you'll just get people from all over the world coming, trying to say, "Help me to figure this thing out."
Well, I'm pretty impressed with her
nailed it.
assessment of David because that really does kind of hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, you pretty much got it right.
Thank you,
Hit the
David.
Jew on the head.
Michelle, from his handwriting, has he killed small animals?
I hope not. No, he
Does
hasn't,
he-
but he does worry a lot.
Worry a lot.
He's a worry wart.
What about his penis size?
Oh, it's fine. You know.
You can tell from the handwriting?
Can you tell from the handwriting?
Well, I wouldn't
She
know.
hinted
from-
at that,
Well,
but-
there are things you can tell about, like you can tell a lot about someone's sexuality through their handwriting.
All right, that's what we're getting at with David.
Okay.
What can you tell?
There we go.
We're looking at a virgin, aren't we?
Well, sort of. I mean,
But how can you tell about the sexuality?
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'll give you like an example.
Like if the beginning of one word is rammed into the end of the other word. Will that tell you something?
There's something in it. In David, since he prints, it's a little harder to tell, but if somebody writes your lower loops, like your G loop, your Y loop, bottom of the F, anything that has a lower loop represents anything that goes on between from your belly button down. It can be someone very physical or someone or sexual. So the way somebody makes their lower loops shows what they're like sexually and
Now-
how much emphasis they put into their sexual
Now we
life.
know why Anthony goes through so much paper.
What are your lower loops like? And I'll tell you what it's like. Like, let's say someone...
Poor Anthony. He can only get 4 lines per page.
It's okay. My handwriting's worse.
Oh, wait, in cursive you mean, right?
Well, it can be cursive or if you print, you still... Unless you print in all caps, you will have, let's say, a lower loop of a G.
My lower loops are fatter, bigger.
Okay, fat lower loops mean that you are sexual. You fantasize a lot.
About what?
You like to be active.
What?
You get bored very easily.
I like to what?
You get bored easily.
Cool.
If I wrote you a letter, could you tell if I ever blew anybody for coke from a letter?
Yeah, especially if you titled it, I blow people for coke.
Hey, Michelle, what about people that write in all caps? I didn't catch that
Okay,
one.
if somebody writes in all capital letters,
Yeah.
well, first of all, one of the reasons men print and women more likely cursive is connected. So emotionally, a lot of women like to connect. The more you print emotionally, a little bit more you separate. Somebody who prints in all capitals,
I write, stop yelling, LOL.
yeah, they don't want you to know anything about
Ugh.
them. So
Stop talking.
person, it will almost always be a man, and he'll print in all capitals. And it means that person doesn't want you to know much about what's going on inside their head.
So did you read the Ramsey note, the John Bonet Ramsey note? I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, in fact, I have a chapter on that in my book.
What do you think of it? I mean, obviously, I think the family has been cleared.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that note?
Well, what I
All right, that's about all we have time for Michelle.
Handwriting. That note is a very bizarre note, and it's one big piece of evidence in that case. One piece of evidence you definitely can link to the murder.
Who do you think wrote it, though? Was it a family member or no?
I really won't tell you, but I do compare it to a family member in the book, and I show you the comparisons to one of the family members, and I leave it up to the reader to figure out what they really think from looking at the comparison. I really think it would be when you have to think about that note that somebody wrote it in the house, because the note was written in that house. It wasn't brought to that house. It was written there. Now, if you've ever tried to write a note, a 3-page note, and try to disguise your handwriting and see how long that takes. So if it was an intruder, and I'm not giving any opinion on this right now, but if it was an intruder, you would have to have somebody who would have had to sit in that house for hours writing a note. And I don't think you can take that out of the equation of what might have happened here. But there's no answer. really, obviously, but I think that note is a huge piece of evidence in this case.
What would you consider an attribute of handwriting for somebody that is dangerous?
You mean something that someone very dangerous?
Yeah. Is it that they put little devil horns all over the place?
You know what? You're not so far off, because there is something called a devil's fork. And I write about that also in about Plug the Name of my book Against Sex, Lies, and Handwriting. I talk about something called a devil's fork. And you will see it not in very many people's handwriting, but you see it in Ted Bundy's handwriting. Many serial killers' handwriting. It looks on the bottom of a letter. It can show up different places, and it looks just like a devil's fork. And I actually just had a case recently with somebody who was accused of murder, and right in her handwriting is the devil's fork. And I'm like, oh my God, and I was busy showing it to people. It's something you do not see often. I'll tell you a story about the devil's fork if you like.
Wait, hold on. Before you do that, can you tell me what it looks like? Because
it looks like, okay, you have a straight line, and then like at the bottom, there would be a curve at the bottom on where the straight line is, so it looks exactly like what a devil's pitchfork would look like, and you will find it somewhere in the handwriting.
That sounds like something that's like you'd have to do as a calculated thing, and wouldn't just be an errant pen stroke or something.
The interesting thing is that it is not calculated. It shows up, and the person has no idea they put it in there.
Is it like almost like, picture a letter Y, a capital Y, a horseshoe upside down with a line under it? Would you consider that a devil's fork?
Yes.
Okay.
But usually it will be like, say, do a Y, and the bottom straight part, which would normally be the loop, but it goes down, and then you get this curved, like a sad face at the bottom of the straight Y hanging down. So it looks like a sad face on the bottom of what would normally be the loop of the Y, but the Y doesn't loop. It just goes straight down, and then at the bottom is a sad face intersecting.
Is it in your book?
Yeah, it's in the book.
I can see how that could happen.
I can't even tell you what page, but it's
what page? Because I want to see it.
When they talk about certain serial killers, they will have this, and it looks just like what you would if you were drawing a picture of a devil and he was holding a pitchfork, what the pitchfork would look like.
Michelle, I'm sorry.
No, they do it.
What? I'm sorry. I'm looking at Aleister Crowley's signature too. What page is the Devil's Pitchfork on? Because I have your book here.
Okay, what page, Ellen? I don't have one. Oh, here's the book. Let's see where we have a devil's. I know it's in the chapter about Ted Bundy, so and which is called.
What could you tell by Aleister Crowley's handwriting? That he was a silly goose?
Aleister Crowley, actually, is in the chapter called, is that a phallic symbol, or are you just happy to see, in your handwriting, or are you just happy to see me?
No.
You will find people, and they will actually put phallic symbols or male parts in their handwriting, and that is somebody who has to get their kick sexually from something perverse, or a little different than normal. So
God, that explains a lot, because after I'll like put the letter Y dripping from the bottom, I'll put little things of the Y's boo. Bailed out, Michelle. Sorry, I felt a bomb coming on.
If you look at that, like phallic symbols, example, Michael Jackson has it in his handwriting.
When he writes the word child.
Well, a lot of times it happens in, like a phallic symbol, I once saw it in one of my friends, a female's handwriting, and I looked at her handwriting, and I had seen her handwriting many times, and I'll make up a fake name for her. I said, Carol, look, you have a phallic symbol. Why is that in your handwriting? She goes, oh my, I said I had sex for the first time in 9 years yesterday, and it showed up right in her handwriting.
Wow,
so
that's wild.
Thinking about sex a lot, or obsessed, or something is a little different, it will show up sometimes when it's never showed up before.
All right, so I'm trying to find an example. You were telling a story about...
I'm looking for that page as we're talking. But let me see.
Yeah, the Devil's Fork, because...
I found one. Well, there is a Devil's Fork about on page 86, but I'm trying to find you. I have a better Devil's Fork, and I'm looking at private eye. I know where it is, but I can't. Oh, it's got to be before that.
Oh, I see.
It's
right.
Oh, unless it's after that. We can talk as I'm looking for the Devil's.
All right. Hey, I want to ask you about.
I have the Devil's Fork. Here it is.
Yeah, what page?
It's in the chapter Bad to the Bone, page 151. At the very bottom is the word living, and it's written by Ted Bundy. Do you see the word on 151?
Yes.
To the very bottom, the
Yes.
word living, on the L.
Oh, right, that little three-pronger thing
Jesus
there.
Christ. How the fuck does he do that without knowing?
What?
He doesn't know he's doing that?
Doesn't know he's doing
Come
it.
on.
It sometimes comes from other letters or words that connect weirdly.
Creepy.
This is something he doesn't know he's doing. He doesn't know it's showing up. You have that also, I think, in the Green Valley Killer, and the BTK Killer has it also. They do not know
Wow,
they're
that's so
doing
weird.
it. It's just because when you write, what you're really doing is putting brain prints from your head onto the page. In fact, Ted Bundy, when they interviewed him, they said, he said, well, he never admitted to the killing, but he did say, well, I think there was a devil inside of me, and maybe the devil did some bad things. And that the person who does this will never admit that they did it, because they actually feel that this devil inside them might have done something, but they didn't. And it will show up. It only, in my personal life, it only showed up one time. A woman who wrote me said she was dating a man, and should she continue dating him? And I looked at his handwriting, and he had the devil's fork in it. And I said, do not run away, get out of
Wow.
don't even go near him. And she broke up with him, and it turns out he had a very long criminal history that she didn't know about.
Holy wow.
Jesus Christ.
So,
What do you know about Erock's fork? That's gotta be real full, a lot of letters piled on top of each other.
Titanium fork.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, never mind.
That's an inside thing. Which
Yeah.
is making
Okay,
people laugh.
maybe
Michelle, I got to tell you, we
you.
got your book ahead of time, and I wasn't going to read this, but now looks
Oh, you
great.
have to
Now,
read it.
I'm going to read it.
Oh, shut
you
up,
can,
David.
David.
I'm giving you I'm giving you a compliment. I mean, now I really want to read this.
This looks
'cause
great.
Just seeing all these different forms of writing in here, from serial killers and such. It's wow, it looks really interesting. Sex, lies, and handwriting. On your website, you talk about Obama and McCain, don't you, and their handwriting?
I have all the presidential candidates and the other people who were running. I have all the people who were running for this election.
All right. First of all, are you a Democrat or a Republican?
Well, I won't tell you, but I can tell you stuff about the different candidates that can be quite interesting. I can tell you. Do you want to hear something about John Edwards?
Yes. Sure.
This might give you a clue. When I first I did everybody's handwriting about a year or so ago when they were first running. And actually, at that time, I was pretty much an Edwards supporter, and I saw his handwriting. And do you remember I told you that if it goes to the right, you think emotionally. If it goes too much to the right, you're too emotional. And I talk about in the book something where if your letter D falls over way to the right, it means that you've forgotten logic and you go with your pure emotions. And when I did John Edwards' handwriting, his handwriting, first he has the very long lower loops, which means he enjoys sex. And but the rest of his handwriting goes so far to the right, but his D completely leans over to the right, which means that he thinks emotionally, leaves all he can forget about logic completely. And when I did his sample, I said to my editor, I said, why does John Edwards' handwriting go this way? I can't understand it. I like him so much. Why is this happening? Why is this going on? And of course, about 8 months later, it came out that he had that affair. But,
and he goes to the hotel
right,
in the middle of this. That was so stupid to go there.
When you think about it, he's a pretty smart guy. Very smart man, but emotionally, that's what that D shows. When it goes over all the way to the right, you have forgotten logic completely. And I talk about that in my book with some certain people, and so after that, I thought, well, I can't vote for him. Something's going on in his life. And right, to jeopardize your whole career for a little fling, that's not, that's a little bit off.
I'm just going to type everything from now on.
Kidding.
That way no one can...
I'm taking something called statement analysis now, so even when somebody types, I can tell from the words what they're really saying underneath.
Oh, well, I should hope so. That's what I hope when someone reads it. They can tell by the words what I'm trying to say.
What you're saying is
it's called
you're
writing.
taking a course in reading.
It's called statement analysis, and what that means is that every single thing you say, it's the way you word things. Now, I'm not a big expert yet on that, but I am studying it. And it's hard if you're just listening. But if somebody writes something down, you can tell from how they worded something, example, where they're lying.
Michelle, we're experts as well.
Okay.
You are a Democrat who loved John Edwards.
Well, not anymore, but I did like him. I have to say that.
You gave that away pretty easily. Hey, Obama and McCain, what do you got on those two? Because now, obviously...
Obama, and I did this again like a year or so ago, it's just in his signature, in the O, he makes a sign that's called a phi sign, P-H-I. It's a Greek sign that means the perfect ratio, and that everything should be in this perfect ratio. And I saw that, and I wrote about it on my website. And so I really, when people called me and said, on the Democratic Convention, he was going to make the background a Greek form to make it look Greek. I said, that goes with his signature.
What does the phi sign look like?
A phi sign looks like a 0 with a line slash through it.
It's all right. We got a picture of E-Rock with a line through him.
Yeah, I mean, a 0 with a line, and it's a phi sign. When you see symbols in people's handwriting, sometimes you don't even know what they mean, and you have to, go through your, college journal or whatever. But people will put symbols in their handwriting that have some meaning personally to them.
But what does that mean with Obama?
I think it means that his basic core belief system is that everything should be in a certain proportion and a ratio. I think
socialism.
He probably studied Greek when he was in college.
Speak Greek?
I bet he had an interest in it and something about that Greek philosophy.
Then why is it a circle with a line through it?
Well, that's how they.
Should
that's
just be
how
a
they
circle.
make a phi sign.
With an arrow pointing
towards you. Do you speak Greek?
I speak a little Greek. I speak. Yasu dikanis. That means hello. How are you?
It's very interesting. I love the devil's pitchfork.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
The devil. Yeah, it's it's amazing.
And the McCain thing. I mean, we got to
John McCain. His handwriting. One thing about it, it is very scrunched up. And a lot of times,
like him.
when somebody has an illness. Now, I have his handwriting. The handwriting I have was from 4 years ago, and it's very scrunched. When people are physically ill, you can see it in their handwriting. At the time when he wrote this, he was ill or impending illness, and I think he had a lot of problems in the last 4 years, and you could see that right in his handwriting. Another interesting thing about McCain. As you think McCain is a big family name, but he writes his first name John, very large, and his last name small. And what that means, if you write your last name small and your first name large, it means I want to make it as John. I do not want to have to, I'm going to not rely on being the McCain name. I want to make it on my own.
What does it mean, though, when they're ill? They're scrunched together? Like the letters are...
Somebody has illness. There will be different signs depending on what illness they have. You can tell a tremendous amount about a person's health when you look at their handwriting.
Yeah, I got a jumble of scribble here, but apparently it's Robert Reed's autograph.
Okay, well, I don't know about that.
Well, of course not.
I mean, it's all scrunched together?
Yeah.
Yes, extremely. It's so scrunched together, it's just a line.
And he's got a lot of zeros with the slash through it.
On handwriting and illness and how it's related.
Yeah.
And I wrote something on my website about how you can predict it's a long story, but I'll make it short for you. How somebody had a tumor and how you saw it in his handwriting. And one of my
pudding
said that, and she saw her husband's handwriting. And she said to him, I don't want to scare you, but I think you have a tumor on your kidney. And he got an MRI, and he did have it.
Well, just by the handwriting?
He was tinkle on the paper.
Actually, he was a physician, and he's become very good friends of mine. And I went and we visited each other. They live in Texas, and we're watching his handwriting. Because as thing would disappear in his handwriting, we're watching to monitor his health.
Is it true that Olivia Newton-John's W's look like U's?
I don't know.
Oh my God, is that
one I don't know.
Wow. Hey, what does it mean? What does it mean if you sign stuff with just if you just sign your last name? You'll hear laughter in the background for the next 10 minutes. By the way, I just want to acknowledge that. But if you just sign stuff just using your last name, what does that indicate?
And if you don't put your first name at all, most people put at least their initials. If you only do your last name, it means something like you're sort of taking ways of your personal thing. You're not trying to like really expose yourself, just like sort of putting up an image.
Wow.
So that's what that shows.
Okay, and just for my personal interest, did you study Kurt Cobain's suicide letter?
I did have it, and I have looked at it. In fact, I haven't looked at it for quite a while now, but I do remember it, and it was a little. Most things that will show up in suicide letters, a lot of times the person's handwriting will go way downhill, meaning that the slope of the handwriting goes.
Oh, yeah.
That means that they're feeling very, very depressed. And I would think, and his handwriting was very erratic, and it means very erratic thinking. So the one thing you want to look for if in somebody is if their handwriting starts to go way, way downhill. It means that they're like falling mentally downhill, or I think I remember he had that. Like I said, I haven't looked at it now for quite a while.
What if you have a droopy C?
A droopy C.
Yeah.
It means that you need a facelift. I don't know.
No, I was thinking droopy
I don't
C.
think it means that much.
And like my D always goes off to the left.
Your D goes to the left,
Yeah.
not to the right?
A little bit, like sometimes.
What's that mean?
So
I don't know.
Your D actually slants more. That means that sometimes you're very emotional, except there are times where you quickly take back control.
Yeah. And what's the difference between a good and a bad N?
Well, there's no good or bad N's, but one thing you want to look for in the N, like if you have a loop in your N, it means you worry too much.
Really?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I worry about my N's.
Right, well, don't worry so much.
All right. Thank you. I didn't know that. I'm glad you could solve those problems.
Some individual letters mean something how they're made, and others don't mean all that much. It's the general look of the writing also. But there are little things that every little thing you put on that page means something about you.
Wow. You know what? I find this a little odd. Whenever I'm writing on the front of an envelope, like an address, and not so much anymore, but I used to, if it wasn't lined paper, I would always kind of drop off to one side or something.
Oh, well, that's fine. Did it go, if it's not lined, do you mean that the handwriting went uphill or downhill, or what do you mean?
Yeah, it was like it would start out good, and then by the end of the address, like it would be dropping down, like going to a down sloping.
Like you're writing on a down angle.
Yeah, on a downhill.
Yeah,
I could never keep it straight on
You
lined.
don't want your handwriting going down. I always tell people not to write on lined paper because lined paper means that you need to follow rules and regulations. Ideally, your handwriting should go uphill a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that means you're a little more upbeat, positive. If your handwriting
I'm just
going
to turn the page a little bit.
There's something called handwriting therapy. When your handwriting goes downhill, it means you can see things in a negative light.
Yeah.
And
Tell me about it.
We
no
do this
shit.
exercise where we make you write uphill.
Mm-hmm.
And that will actually turn a negative mood into a much positive state.
But realistically, all I have to do is really turn the page clockwise a little bit, and I'm fine, right?
Back to normal.
Well, no. Realistically, all you would have to do is when you write, instead of letting your hand drop down, is actually go, I'm going to make it level, or I'm going to go up and force it up. And actually, as you do that, you will feel better and happier. And they've done studies with really successful people. And the thing that's
Uncle Paul.
in common with them is almost always their handwriting goes slightly up.
All right, Michelle.
Who's that?
Hold on, Michelle.
I heard a voice.
Yeah, hold on. Michelle, who's the writer of Sex, Lies, and Handwriting. We got a bunch of really good questions coming in. We got Stephanie in Atlanta. Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Michelle. Hey, so what does it mean when a woman writes in all caps?
Okay.
I rarely ever.
Now, there's a few things to consider. Does she write in all caps because it's part of her profession? For example, is she an architect or an engineer?
No, she's a woman.
Exactly. That's why Mr. Brady did it.
Come on. We're talking about recipes, right?
Recipe.
If a woman writes in all caps, I always say to her, it does mean she's trying to avoid a little bit of things emotionally. And I say, think back of when you started, and you were probably going through something, a little emotional problem or trauma at that time. Think back of when you started to write in all capital letters. And that's probably an issue or a trauma that you need to work out in your life. So very few women do write in all caps. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It's very interesting, though.
No way.
I mean, do you write in all caps?
I do. All the time. I never write any other way but in all caps.
Now, do you, when you learned in school, did you write cursive and then somewhere in your life turn into all caps, or did you write in all caps ever since a kid?
No, I wrote in cursive. I can't even remember when.
Stephanie, can I ask you a question? Because I'm kind of learning about this. Do you have big, thick periods?
No, Anthony,
All right.
I don't.
I'm just asking because I'm learning a lot about this.
But Stephanie, if I were you, think back of when you started, and if you were going through something in your life, but writing in all caps does mean that you will distance yourself a little bit emotionally and try to think, okay, better do it all logically because I can't get my emotions that involved in this. So think about that when you're when it started, what may have started.
All right, let's go to Kenny in Jersey. Kenny, you're on with Michelle.
Hey, Kenny.
Hi, I mix capital E's and lowercase E's.
You mean what do you mean? You have a capital E's, like if you write the word ever, it could be a small E, V, a big E, and an R. Is that what you're saying?
Like Kenneth.
In your name. Really, if you mix capitals where they don't belong, it can mean you're a little bit unpredictable. Here and there, it doesn't mean that much. But ideally, if your letters that should be lowercase turn into capitals in an erratic way, it can mean that sometimes you do things that are a little unpredictable, even sometimes to yourself. So ideally, you don't want to do that where they don't belong, but a little bit here and there doesn't mean all that much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Likes to print the capital letters because he's unpredictable.
All right. I don't know who this person is. You're on with Michelle. Good
evening.
Are you there, sir?
I'm here.
Oh,
madam.
Madam, what's up?
Hi.
Hello? Dan?
Hello.
Hi.
Dan.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hi,
you.
Dan, you're up.
Go. You're up.
Oh, hey. I'm sorry. I was wondering, my big P, the top of it it's a lot larger than the rest of it, like the long skinny part. I was wondering what that meant.
Oh, that's a very good question.
The very top part of the letter P is very rounded and big, and then you just have a little teeny line.
Yeah, only on my big P, though.
Okay, well,
oh, no.
Let's see what we can say what that means. Well, it just means you have a big P.
Yeah.
It does mean sometimes you like to please others, and there's a big desire to please.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I write my V, the tip of it's real skinny and tighter than the top part of it. I was wondering, it's like a very big difference. It's almost like a short, wedge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That in itself doesn't mean that much.
All right, thank you.
Doesn't mean anything if every time you write a V, there's scribble marks through it. I hope not.
All right, let's say hi to David in Washington. We're wrapping up with Michelle here, but David has something.
Hello. Yeah, okay. Seriously, my handwriting is super neat. It looks like the letters were typed practically.
Okay.
I make my A's the way they would appear, my lowercase A's, like on a typewriter.
Ooh.
And sometimes I make my G's that way, too, with the little loopy deal. And when I'm handwriting, the paper, I turn it to where it's like I'm writing vertically.
Yeah, I've seen those weirdos in school.
Well, you know what that means? Your handwriting looks real perfect. Is that what you're telling me?
It is really
Braggart.
close.
Means
to
you're a
perfect.
braggart.
No, you know what that means? When people tell me, oh, look, this person there have real perfect, neat handwriting, isn't that great? When you write so it's so perfect that it's unnatural, it means that you can't relax, and you're so afraid to show who you really are that you need so desperately to keep everything perfect and in place because you don't want anyone really to see what's inside, and it's very hard to be spontaneous. Because if you're spontaneous, people might go, oh, look, you did something wrong. So you're keeping everything in extreme order so not to give anybody the impression that you have any flaws.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fear factor.
Yeah, but I write like really messy, and I can't relax. It's just the opposite. So,
Well, it may be different. You may not put up like a front that I'm perfect.
Right.
Well,
I certainly don't.
No, he's garbage actually with a hat.
So that's different.
He
But
knows it.
somebody
He has
who
no problem
writes
with it.
so perfect. It means that they're trying so hard not to let anybody see any of their problems.
All right.
What if I write fine, but I have a messy colon?
Well, I guess you have to go to the doctor.
Hey, Michelle, I have a question. You didn't
Danny
write,
just threw away his paper.
you didn't write this alone. Who did you write this book with?
I wrote Sex, Lies, and Handwriting with someone named James Qualwasser, who's a very good editor and writer from...
Oh, okay. I thought James Qualwasser was a handwriting expert.
Yeah.
No, he's not a handwriting expert. He's an editor.
A ghostwriter. You didn't
and
write
No.
much.
writer.
Hey, John in Jersey has a very good question for you,
Okay,
Michelle.
John.
Yes, John, you're up.
Yes, I'd like to wonder why my D's go with my A.
What's that, John?
He wants to know why.
They go my A.
Wait, I'm sorry. I if you could please repeat what you said, that might help.
Yes, my D's go into my A when I write.
Oh, yeah, that's the
D's
problem.
go to the right?
They go into the A's.
Go into his A's.
Yeah, if he has an A, the D goes right into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so your letters are intersecting with each other? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
At least the D's and the A's, yeah.
Yes.
Ideally, you don't want your letters intersecting like that. It's a little hard to know. Ideally, you want your letters separate. If it's your everyday letters other than signatures mean something a little different. But your letters intersecting mean that there are things that are getting kind of mixed up in your life. Ideally, you want to keep your letters not from intersecting and not from going overlapping like that.
Wait, what does it mean? I have
Just
a
like
question.
God said.
What does it mean if you're signing a J, right? What's it mean if you sign a J in cursive and the top of the J is really big and round, but the small part of the J, the lower part of the looping part of the J is very small and tight at the bottom?
Most people who write a very big J, a very rounded top part of the J, that usually shows responsibility.
And what is the lower part?
Of no lower loop, it means they're not too much into the sex part.
Responsible and no sex.
Right, responsibly.
What?
I know. Yes?
The people that mix cursive with print.
Cursive with print. If you do cursive with printing in a way that is efficient, it means you're exceptionally bright and creative. You'll find people who are
I
musicians,
do that all the time.
artists, speakers, who are creative and bright. They do this form of called print writing, where they actually combine printing and cursive, and you'll find that in very creative, bright people's handwriting.
I think I do that.
Oh, good! It's a very good sign.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
What about those dopey girls with the hearts over the eyes and stuff?
Yeah, what does that mean when
that's
bitches
good.
do that?
It means something different than if it's a boy who does it.
What does it mean?
Oh, what if a boy does it?
Usually people who do a little they're almost always teenagers.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's somebody obvious. It's like pretty obvious what it means. It's if it's a teenage girl, it means hi, I feel romantic. Oh,
Can I go in your jacuzzi?
Yeah,
and it's
it's
got
kind of-
got a heart over it.
Somebody does that when they get older, though. It means it can be kind of immature or a little too romantic.
And that
you
means I'm
never
coming over to
very
burn some
rarely see
clothes.
boys or men do that.
Yeah. All right.
I guess it all depends on the person doing it. That what you're trying to tell me? Your turn.
Well, it depends on their age, too.
Yeah.
How about their phone? Go ahead, you talk.
For somebody 15, and they're not appropriate for somebody older than that. Like,
Right.
People sometimes do the circle eye dots too. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, well, the X was a great call. It was a very. Where are you based out of, sweetie?
Where am I based out of? I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Cool. Well, it's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, when are you going to make it to the big time and get out of that hellhole?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying. If everybody out there buys Sex, Lies, and Handwriting, I could get out of Pittsburgh.
Oh, that would rock, right?
That would rock. Where are you going to move to?
Oh, I don't know. If I had my choice to move anywhere in the world, I think I'd go to some Caribbean. I might go to an island right now and just snorkel every day and take some time off and just relax for a little bit.
All wrinkly.
Well,
Snorkel
I'll put
every day.
sunscreen on.
Yeesh.
Well, that's,
All right.
thank you for the
And I
help.
might
With,
go up to New York City.
all right. Well, you
There you go.
You were very nice.
Well, thank you. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Sex, Lies, and Handwriting. I got to say, at first, like Opie said, I saw this book and it didn't hold much interest.
No,
but
now I'm gonna read
after
it.
talking to you, I really do want to read this.
Oh, great. Yeah, you know what? I tried to do it in a really fun way, so it's not real technical, but you do learn a lot. And I just wanted it to be a really fun book. So I think you'd enjoy Sex, Lies, and Handwriting, and I thank you so much.
Book held up.
Thank you, Michelle.
Book held up better than that bro book did. That's
Oh,
for sure.
no kidding.
Yeah, thank you. There she goes.
And I have
Bye.
a big P in me,
Michelle
too.
Dress Bold.
David's been chiming in a lot. I love it.
Yeah.
David's hysterical. He'll just, yeah.
What did he laugh at with E-Rock before?
I don't know.
Zero at the line to him or something?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll see you guys later.
He threw in a little E-Rock, a
later, Rich.
little crack at E-Rock, too.
What are you
Pretty
looking
good.
for?
Where you going,
looking
Rich?
for the
What are you
big-
doing? Your
the
teeth?
big goodbye? Scram.
Are you doing your teeth?
Yeah, I'm going to do my teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to, we're going to videotape you doing some of your comedy without teeth?
If I remember, yeah, I'll do some comedy without
All right,
teeth.
good.
All right.
All right, good luck.
Listen, I'll see you guys in.
Good luck to you, buddy.
Thanks for
All
tuning
right,
in
have
this
fun.
weekend.
Good luck, Voss.
Come back.
What is this guy? You're not allowed to talk to me.
David's
Shut your
hysterical.
mouth.
Good luck, Voss.
I know.
Why?
Like,
David's
Jesus.
right. David fucking is wishing Voss good luck. Right or
Thank
wrong?
you.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You wouldn't have good luck if it wasn't for my David.
We love David. David's
Yes.
a good boy.
David's a good egg.
The JJ is all right.
David is a fucking. David's a mensch.
All right. David, once you get up and leave,
Is Voss slamming the door?
become an intern again.
All right.
Good job,
There he
David.
goes.
Good job today, David. Yeah.
You feel satisfied with your performance?
Definitely.
Were there any parts that you wished for better?
I don't know. Not today.
Yeah, you have that handwriting analysis. It was pretty good, huh? Spot on.
Yeah, she was perfect. She got it right on.
Very
Yep.
good.
Did they think you were slow when you were a kid?
They thought so.
Aww.
They thought so, yeah.
But they know you're not now, right?
They know. They know.
All right, David.
Filled our quota of certain jokes, which was good.
There's some good ones in
Our
there.
daily quota of horrific
fucking-
jokes.
that-
Big sloppy
W.
period was great. All right,
You,
David.
you.
Okay, David.
Jesus
Thank you.
Christ.
All right,
That's
David.
horrible. Just awful
There goes
people.
David.
It's,
All
it's
right.
just perfect
And it's
as a joke.
it's completely unnecessary.
Of course it is.
On a daily
It's
basis.
brutal for no reason.
Oh God.